Hi guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about LeeAnna Warner. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Kaylin Whittaker and her boyfriend Christopher Warner lived in the city of Chisholm. They both had been married before, and shortly after they began dating, they actually moved in together, and this was towards the end of 1996. In 1998, on January 21st, LeeAnna was born. LeeAnna was friends with all of the children. She was friendly, outgoing, brave, and her parents even said that she had pretty good survival instincts for her age. However, on a Saturday morning, the whole community's world will have changed. It was June 14th, 2003, when the family had just gotten home from a rummage sale. LeeAnna asked if she could go to her friend's house to play, and she had gone over there multiple times before, so this was nothing out of the ordinary. Her friend lived just around the corner, so her parents said yes, but to be back by 5 o'clock for dinner. So in the late afternoon, she left home barefoot, as one kid does. However, when she got there, nobody was home, so she turned around to go back in the direction of her home. And there was actually a neighbor who witnessed this happen, so we know for sure that she did turn in the direction to go back to her house. 5 p.m. comes and goes, but LeeAnna had not come back. Kaylin asked LeeAnna's half-sister Carly, who was 9 at the time, to go see if she could find her. She just assumed that LeeAnna had lost track of time. However, LeeAnna nor her friend were at that house, so she decided to search the neighborhood, but she had no luck. She went home, and Kaylin and Christopher got neighbors to join the search, but there was no trace of her. By 9 p.m., she was officially reported missing. Detectives got statements and launched a search, and they even retraced her steps, hoping for something, but they came up empty. They looked everywhere, bins, drains, etc. Chisholm had dense woodland surroundings, so they even speculated the possibility that she wandered off, got lost, and maybe even fallen into one of the nearby bodies of water. Longyear Lake was not far from where she was last seen, and they actually found child-sized footprints. Nothing else was found in that area though, and local residents actually started mentioning sightings that they had seen. One described a mid-30s man at around 5'10" and 155 pounds. He had a dark tattoo on his right arm, and it was believed to be possibly a star or a sun. Someone else said they saw a blue two-door Cadillac with a black man driving it in his 20s or 30s with either a bald or shaven head. Somebody else claimed to have seen a rusty brown pickup truck driven by a white man with black curly hair. However, nobody stepped forward. Detectives followed 1,300 leads, but they all led to dead ends. Months later is when people finally started suspecting that she had been abducted. By August, it was believed that she had been kidnapped while walking home from her friend's house. And her parents were both interviewed and questioned and interrogated basically, but there was no evidence against them. For the investigation, detectives dug up a little bit of the family's past, which they didn't necessarily want to relive, but they had to for the sake of their daughter, and one incident in particular actually happened the year their daughter was born. Christopher and his ex-wife had gotten into an altercation, and it resulted in both of them getting a restraining order on one another. Christopher said that she had threatened Kaylin and her 2 daughters from her previous marriage, along with LeeAnna. However, detectives don't think that they're connected in any way. The couple ended up getting major hate for the 4 hours it took them to report their daughter missing. But Christopher said that in a small community like this, they don't expect anything like that to ever happen to them. Detectives began looking at people who attended a concert and charity fundraiser motorcycle rally that was happening the weekend of her disappearance. They looked at records from gas stations, hotels, campgrounds, and just started compiling a bunch of names as they went. Unfortunately, there were no promising leads. On August 16th, the family held a prayer and praise service to honor her memory at the Grace Lutheran Church. LeeAnna's grandma, Lois, said that this was not a memorial service, but rather a message of hope, that they have hope that they will figure out what happened to her, and that they have hope that she will come home. By now, detectives have spoken to many persons of interest. It was also mentioned that LeeAnna had recently come home with many new toys, saying something about a little old lady friend and something about starting a life with her new family. The parents didn't know what to make of this. They kind of just thought she was playing and messing around, but they couldn't help but wonder if this had any connection to what happened to her. 24-year-old Matthew Curtis was a local man who was charged with possession of child pornography. He only lived a couple houses down, so LeeAnna would have had to walk right past his door in order to get home. On September 12th, he was actually found dead in a gravel pit where he committed suicide by putting a plastic bag over his head. They searched his car and his house, but there was no incriminating evidence found. That same week, a $25,000 reward was put forward for any information. The following month, Kaylin was actually arrested for hitting Christopher with her car because of an argument they had. He wasn't seriously injured, however, she was charged with 1 count of criminal vehicular operation causing bodily harm and 1 count of hit and run. The charges were eventually dropped. Another person of interest was Bruce Christensen, and he had actually gotten into a fight with Chris and threatened to kill Kaylin. But eventually he was cleared, but he was in jail for something else, and he eventually ended up killing his cellmate. He claimed to have known where LeeAnna was buried and basically admitted to the crime. However, when the investigators went on a search and he led them to where he said she was buried, it turns out that he was just lying in order to get outside and have some sunlight, basically. In June 2004, Bob Heels was hired by the family to help in the investigation, and he was actually a private detective who helped assist in helping get justice for 2 murder victims' families. He led a search through the woodlands that was searched the year before, but he unfortunately came up empty as well. The families of the 2 murder victims actually helped as well. In 2005, Joseph Duncan was arrested after Brenda Groen, Mark McKenzie, and her 13-year-old son Slade were found dead in their home outside the city of Portland, Idaho. Her 2 other kids, Dylan and Shasta, who were 9 and 8 years old, were also missing. Shasta was actually found in a Denny's with Joseph, and he had basically killed her family and abducted her. So that means Dylan was unfortunately found dead as well. Now, this is where I find a few differing things on the internet. Some sources said that Joseph was in the area at the time of LeeAnna's disappearance. Apparently he had a diary, and in his diary he said that he was most likely going to be a prime suspect because of the fact that he was in the area at the time of her disappearance. Other sources say that he wasn't in the area, so he was cleared as a suspect. When he was eventually arrested, he admitted to murdering 2 girls in 1996, but neither of the girls that he mentioned were LeeAnna. Today, LeeAnna would be 26 years old. Throughout the years, age progression images have been released. Christopher once said that he had reoccurring dreams that LeeAnna would crawl into bed with Kaylin and him just like she used to. On December 10th, 2022, Kaylin unfortunately passed away from lung cancer. This might have happened in the year 2003, but that doesn't mean that this case needs to remain unsolved. I also know I don't have very many subscribers, but if this gets to even 1 person that can even remotely help or at least share the word, then I'm doing my job. If you or anyone you know knows what could possibly have happened to LeeAnna, call the number on your screen. LeeAnna was born on January 12, 1998. She is a white female. She was 5 years old when she disappeared. She was 3 feet 2 inches tall, 48 pounds. She has brown hair, brown eyes. She was last seen on June 14th, 2003, and she is missing from Chisholm, Minnesota. She was last seen wearing a dark blue denim dress with a belt, orange Hans brand underwear. Her right ear is pierced with a flower earring and red garnet stone in the center. And the nickname she had as a kid was Bean or Beaner because she was a cute little bean as a baby. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. I don't really care. Subscribe if you're new. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have any thoughts on this case and if you have anything that might help. It is really unfortunate that her mother has passed away and won't be able to get the answers that she so badly wanted and deserved. But her sisters are still out looking. They are still thinking about her every single day, and they promised their mother that they would not go down without a fight. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.